It is 5:30. Good evening. We'd like to welcome you to join the Clarkston Community School Video Center Administrative Board regular meeting for April 19th. Let's start with a call to order and move right into the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, make a motion for acting chair.
And-
I'd second the motion.
And we have all those in favor say aye.
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 And those opposed say nay.
Oh, who seconded that motion?
I did. David Hayward.
Okay.
And just to be clear, the motion was to make Leanna Hahn acting chair, yes?
Correct.
For the meeting this evening.
For tonight's meeting.
For tonight's meeting, yes. All right, we'll start with a roll call. We have Phil here, we have David, we have John, Matt, and John. All right, if I could get a motion to approve the agenda for tonight?
I move to approve the agenda for this evening.
Can we have a second?
Second.
Dave?
Oh.
Who made the motion? Dave?
Yes.
Okay. Seconded by?
John Barry.
All right, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed? All right, we will move on. It looks like there are no carryover or past item agendas, so we'll go on to regular business. If I can get a motion to request to approve the minutes from 2/15/2003.
Move to approve the Video Center Administration Board minutes from February 15th of 2023 as presented.
Second the motion.
Wonderful.
Moved by Jen, seconded by David.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
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 All those opposed say nay. All right. Go on to our number 2 item is the request to approve the 2023-2024 Video Center budget proposal. John, if you'd like to handle that.
Yes. So included in your packet is the proposed budget for 2023 and 2024. I'll pull it up here so we can kind of walk through it. I've also developed a presentation just to kind of go in deeper on a few of the items that are in our budget. Just we have a few new board members. I'm new myself. I thought it was kind of worth kind of explaining what those are and kind of what we're looking for. So I'll start off with the budget here momentarily. Sorry. This one. There we go. Okay, so here blocked out is what we're proposing for 23-24. As you'll kind of look over, you'll notice there's not too much changes from past years. We didn't make too many drastic changes. You'll see that we are requesting a change when it comes to the EDGE staff or purchase services, and that's for our staff. Noted down here at the bottom, the reason for the change is we're requesting to give our production coordinator a 3% salary increase, and that's going to take him from $43,500 to $44,805 for the year. Moving forward, we do have this request in there for 24-25 and 25-26 at this time. So that's why there's a change in the EDGE staff purchase services. Looking down a little bit further, as I said, there's not too much moving. The one thing that you will notice is the operating costs under Media Club. We've allocated $2,000 for next year to continue on our Media Club, which I believe, and Matt can correct me if I'm wrong, we did in 2019, but haven't done since. And not that it wasn't, you'll notice in 2019 we didn't have any money allocated for it. It came out of the operating costs, supplies, material. So this year we're allocating money from this budget line to do a Media Club this summer. So that will be costs for the campers for the week, t-shirts or something like that, just to give us a little bit of room to operate that camp for a week. Also looking forward, we have $6,000 for conferences or registration. At this time, we're not planning on going to a conference next year, but this will give us leeway in case for some reason we choose to go or we're invited to one. But it also covers registration fees or entry fees for any contests that we enter as well. So that's why that line item is there currently. One that I'm going to dive deeper into is other purchase services. Now you'll kind of notice that this is proposed at 13, which is what we had last year. We're going to keep it at 13 this year, but looking here at future projected budget, you're going to notice that it's kind of going up to 18, and that's because we're anticipating, hopefully, some increases in those purchase services. And one of that is a project that we're hoping to add on our channels onto a streaming device, cablecast streaming device, which will be found on Apple TV and Amazon Prime. So it'll be on smart TVs through an app, but that will be adding our channel so people can watch live through that app as well, along with YouTube, along with cable. That's just one of the projected projects that we're hoping to do, and that would come out of other purchase services. So that's why that's increasing a little bit in the next couple of years. And I'll go a little bit deeper into this line item so you can kind of see what that looks like. Looking down at capital costs and equipment, and I'll go into this a little bit more with our CIP as well. You'll notice kind of a little bit of a change where we're going to be decreasing our equipment less than $5,000, but also increasing our equipment greater than $5,000. We took the $5,000 that we took out of the less than, moved 3 of it into greater than, and then the additional 2 went into the media club. So that's kind of where that $5,000 went. So. And I'll break down kind of a little bit of why we're doing that from a capital improvement project costs. I believe in 23-24, we have upgrading the student computers in our classrooms, which will be a big project. We're kind of looking into costs at this point, but I just wanted to make sure that we budgeted enough to cover the costs. And Matt, I'm not sure how many computers we have, if you could.
I think counting my laptop that I think I take around with me to both buildings, I think we have 9 or 10 computers. I haven't made a request, but now that media is part of the career and technical education family, I guess we'll say, it's possible CTE could pick up some of the cost for those computers. In the past, we didn't really have that as an option, so I don't exactly know if it's going to be ITV buying all 10. It's possible there'll be some kind of, we'll buy a chunk, they'll buy a chunk, and we can kind of progress that way. But we're still, as John said, still kind of navigating some of that.
Yeah, and I know that cost looks a little high, but one of the things that we're going to have to try to accommodate for is the change in ports for these computers. A lot of the stuff that we use is USB based for a connection standpoint, and that's just not the case with newer computers. So we might have to buy some adapters or additional items to kind of accommodate the newer technology. So we're taking that into account just in case there is some instances like that where we'll have to upgrade some other things to accommodate the new computers. So
No software licensing, that type of stuff, or?
The software licenses we have should still be able to
carry over?
continue to be used.
Okay.
We might have to do some looking into Final Cut, but I know for Adobe we just pay, I think it's like for 100 seats.
Good.
So it shouldn't matter that. Also, in getting some of these new computers, I mean, these computers are getting kind of old. They were purchased a while back. That being said, though, I think some might, possibly trickle down to Renaissance or maybe even the junior high or middle school.
That's good.
That's something we could look into as well. They're old, but they're not, they still have some life left in
Sure.
them. So we're going to look into those
That's a good
options
idea.
as well.
we're also going to be exploring the trade-in option as well through Apple and Mac. There is that opportunity to trade in older equipment to receive credit towards a new purchased equipment. So depending on how many that we have and what the trade-in is, we'll probably be exploring that as well to help the cost. So moving down onto the budget for the proposed budget for next year, you'll kind of see that we're anticipating another addition to our fund balance of $22,000 at this time, which is good. At the past meetings, like I've kind of stressed, we are very conservative in our spending, but also want to make sure that we're contributing to our fund balance aggressively. It's kind of part of the business that we're in. PEG fees are not going up; they're going down. So we want to make sure that we're appropriately ready to have a substantial budget whenever those days come. So it's been the staff's decision, and I support it 100% to make sure that we're contributing to that fund balance so that we have a healthy, fund balance to operate with in case anything does happen. So that was a conservative effort, or a mindful effort to make sure that we contributed again to our fund balance in a healthy way. So I have some notes here at the bottom, just kind of explaining some things I'll kind of go over. As I said, we're anticipating of giving our production coordinator a 3% salary raise this year. There's a little bit more of a breakdown on line item 4 in the notes of where the total of that 96,022 number comes from, and why that's so high based on the salary, but also the part-time people that we pay with a contract fee to EDGE staff. So that was one thing that kind of caught us off guard in years past. It was this contract fee of 17% that we have to apply to all of our EDGE staff employees. So that's factored in here this year to make sure that we have it covered. That's factored in at the 3% rate proposed that we're hoping to give them. So you'll see the contract fees, the salaries, and I say estimated benefits. We have it at 85. This was looked at by myself and the budget analysis with the township, Rick Yeager, as we kind of looked over past years to kind of give this a proper estimate and make sure that it's where it should be. So we say 85 for estimated benefits, but that should be well in the ballpark range. And some good news here for line item 5, as you'll see, the telephone lines, the T1 lines that we have that are going to AT&T, we are upgrading those to fiber this year, and in doing so, there is a cost savings to doing that. To maintain the T1 lines, it was about $400 per line at this point. This one's going to be going down to about $386 with the fiber line, so it's not much of a savings, but it is a savings. You see it, I just want to note that in the line item telephone lines, the T1 lines, I did not change what we're budgeting for in that area, only because I don't know when that install is going to happen. So at this point, I was just left it at the same, just to make sure that we have that covered cost whenever that install happens. So, and I also left it for the same for the projected in 24 and 25. That can be adjusted once we kind of understand what our new monthly bill is and when that install takes place. So when that does happen, I'll come to the board to just let you know that that has taken place. But just trying to make sure that we have enough space at this time to cover what we are anticipating. So something to look forward to, that we will be saving a little bit of money coming up through that upgrade. Looking at the 24-25 proposed budgets, these are just proposals at this time. You don't have to approve these ones. This is just kind of what we're looking at in the next few years as well. We just wanted to make sure that we kind of showed you, where we're going. These will obviously be adjusted and presented to you at appropriate times, but just wanted to know that we're looking down the road as well as far as costs go and everything like that. From the standpoint of this, we're kind of keeping everything as is. There's no big changes at this point, but I'll kind of go into a little bit further detail about some of these items. So at this point, I'll ask if there's any questions before I get into my next items.
Yes, actually, I had a question on the $6,000 line item for the other, or actually the item you spoke to about CableCast. I thought, well, we are already on CableCast. Is there like a part 1 or part 2?
I believe we already have like on demand for those things.
Oh.
But I think it's the 24-hour streaming.
Okay,
So right now
then-
our channels are, I think if you go through like Apple TV's Cablecast app, you see all our content on demand.
Right.
John's been looking into making it so then in addition to that, our channels are also streamed 24/7.
Gotcha.
So if you wanted to watch us on Cablecast, because maybe you live out of area, you don't have cable, you can still watch our channels streaming all the time.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, Matt explained it perfectly. This would be an upgrade to what we already have, and we'll kind of dive into that because you're right. We are on Cablecast, and we do pay them for video on demand and also server maintenance. So this would be an additional cost. What we're trying to determine right now is if this would be an annual cost or a one-time cost to do this upgrade. So until we get that kind of ironed out, that's why it's not projected this year. It'll be kind of next year, just to make sure that we have the appropriate money. And that's why I kind of put it in other contracted, other purchase services, just in case it is an annual fee. That's where that one would be going into.
Now, with the transition to with the service that we have right now,
Mhm.
are you able to track some of the metrics on usage? And have you seen any spikes or any difference in?
That was actually just an update that we did on Monday with Cablecast, that there
Okay.
is going to be able to track metrics from live viewing and recorded viewing as well. So that's something that we might be able to bring to the board once we figure out how that works, that we can kind of look into the Cablecast settings to see if there's, certain numbers that we can present from a viewership standpoint. So that was something that they just rolled out in their latest update on Monday, so,
Wonderful.
which
Okay.
we did, so. Any other questions at this point? Okay, I'm going to go through this budget presentation a little quickly, but I just wanted to, like I said, go through some of these line items and just explain a little bit about what we're doing and kind of explain a little bit of these things. So here's some key points. For at least the 7th year in a row, we'll be contributing to our fund balance. We're projected to reach over $500,000 in our school fund balance by 24-25 at this point, which is a good milestone for us to hit. We're really excited about that, and to kind of include it with the fund balance that we have over the township, which is about 420. We could be looking at $1 million in a couple years between the two entities, which is phenomenal, especially in a time when a lot of community media stations right now are dipping into their fund balances to cover their operating costs. We're actually doing quite the opposite. We're contributing to our fund balances to ensure that we can keep this program going. So I'm really proud of our organization for being able to do that and hopefully hitting these big milestones from a savings standpoint. As I said, we're shifting money from the capital cost to fund the media camp, which we have not done since 2019. That was mostly because of COVID, and Matt Legato and I both started last summer right at the time when media camp would be going on, so we chose not to do one so we could get our feet under us before we really got going. So, but we're both very excited to hold this camp, and we're looking forward to it. Like I said, we're projecting to increase through the proposal the salary of our production coordinator by 3% this year. This is just a breakdown of our budget and where it is going this year from a percentage standpoint. So as I said, factors contributing to this budget as of 2022, we have a fund balance of 407 with Independence Township and 430. That's as of 2022 with community schools totaling 838, which is great. We did see a decrease of $7,970 of PEG fees from 21-22. This was compared to an actual increase from 20 to 21 of $1,200. So something to monitor, and our budget analyst over at the township has been extremely, I don't know the correct word, but he's been very aggressive as far as projecting the decrease in PEG fees, which has been good because it hasn't hit that point of which he's projected it out to be. But from that standpoint, he is still projecting annual decreases from the PEG fees. So we are, at this point, prepared for it from the township side. It just kind of stands to see of what those numbers are each year. But just wanted to inform you of where our PEG fees have been going the last couple of years.
So, a quick question. So
Yes.
I know when this first came up that there was very scary and lots of concerns, and, is the thought that the PEG fees are going to ultimately go away completely?
It's kind of tough to say, as my understanding is how things currently laid out is PEG fees are tied to cable bills.
Right.
So if you only have internet and not cable, you don't pay any PEG fees.
Right.
I would like to live in a world where that shifts to the dominant form of communication, which I think now is fair to say it's internet, but that remains to be seen if and when that'll happen. So as long as streaming and internet becomes more and more popular, it seems as though unless some big changes happen, PEG fees would presumably go down and down until potentially, eventually, they're pretty non-existent. And as John was saying, that's why we got to look into what are ways we can kind of maybe tweak our existing PEG fees, what are some additional revenue streams we can get at. We have a healthy fund balance, so it's not a concern tomorrow, but obviously we wouldn't want to make a plan where we have to eat at our fund balance for years on end.
Yeah.
Public education and government.
Public education in government?
And government.
Public and government.
Yes. If you look on your cable bill, you probably see what is generally like a couple bucks, and we collect all those, what the township does, and that's our PEG fees.
Yep, and speaking of PEG fees, Matt and I actually met with the city of the village of Clarkston, and we're in process right now of entering an intergovernmental agreement with the city of the village of Clarkston to record some of their meetings for them. We've been doing this for a number of years. I don't know how it kind of started off. We both kind of assumed that it started off as a, hey, can you guys do this? And we said, yeah, sure. But now it's kind of time for us, as we sat down and evaluated our staff and evaluated what we're doing, that we need to formalize the agreement and kind of line out what we wanted to do. The city of the village was more than happy to enter in this agreement with us in exchange for PEG fees. Now we're just kind of sitting down and really hammering out what that looks like. So I don't anticipate, this is gonna be a little bit of a process to do, so I don't anticipate this taking place now, but I do anticipate this taking place by the end of the year, for sure. So that'll be some good news and additional revenue coming in our way to do some additional work for the city of the village of Clarkston. So pretty excited about that.
Good, very good.
And here's a line item that I kind of wanted to touch base on just to give you an idea of what that is. And this is the other purchase services line item in our operating cost. So this is just kind of a small breakdown of some of the bills that I guess you could say we pay that come out of that line item. Because I guess, you know, looking at that line item, it's a larger number. You can kind of say, well, what is that? This is kind of what it is. So you'll see some of these services that we use that come out of that item, that budget line item annually. So I'll have some notes here just kind of explaining what each one is. The Identitas scanner is something that we pay. It's a system used to create school IDs for students and staffs. We have Storyblocks, which is a video template provider. It provides us with a lot of design options for lower thirds and title screens and other graphics. Again, here's the cable cost, the software maintenance that you were referring to earlier. This is an annual cost that we'd be looking at to see if that streaming service or the app would be kind of rolled into this. Would it be a separate one? Would it be annual? So that's something that we're kind of looking into, because at this time we're paying Cablecast 2 annual bills this year. One software maintenance and one is video on demand upkeep. So you'll kind of see Dropbox Art List is something new that we picked up this year. That's just a music service that we use for our videos. It's a great service that we've found a lot of use out of. It's unlimited downloads right now for music. You just pay an annual cost and you can kind of use them. They're royalty free. So it's really good for us. It's really good for the students. We haven't messed around too much with it yet, but it's something new that we've been excited about to use. So moving forward, you can kind of see here some other ones that provide or go into that line item as well from Cablecast, but it also includes memberships that we have for Alliance for Community Media and the Michigan Community Media Organization. So this is the total of what we have here, and I know that's not exactly what we're looking at from the other purchase service line. We also, this past year, used this to pay Michael Rosenkrantz, who is our announcer for a lot of our sporting events. So any time that he gave us an invoice for his services, that's where that came out of. So that's kind of what we're looking at from the purchase services now. Looking at the line item and looking at what we're paying, that's really good. But like I said, we wanted to leave a little bit extra room for that hopeful additional cost in the next few years. So any questions regarding any of these services that we purchase? Okay. I'll kind of move into our 5-year capital improvement plan. This hasn't changed. The only thing that did change is we added on another year to 2027 to kind of keep up with things. So these items will be coming out of the greater than $5,000 budget line. As I said, in 2023, we're looking at updating the classroom computers. 2024, we're looking at updating the studio set and furniture, which is needed. We did purchase some furniture covers for our couches that are leather, and unfortunately shedding a lot of leather at this time. So we did purchase some just to kind of hopefully extend that life out a little bit more, but it's still to look a little nice. In 2025, we'll be upgrading our staff cameras. That's the Canon C100 that we use in the 5D Mark II. Now, we kind of took a little bit of a step this year actually of doing that by upgrading the mirrorless camera that I brought and presented to you, the board last meeting, to show you what we did. So we're a little bit ahead of schedule on the 2025 one, which is great, but we might be able to kind of take advantage of that and purchase more. So we're already kind of looking at that one, but looking quite well at this one at this point. So in 2026, we're also going to be upgrading the student cameras, which will also be needed. Those are kind of ending near of life. We might even be able to, with board approval, switch 26 and 25 depending on how things are looking at that point. So, and you'll notice another large one at 2027. I put this one in here at that time, just looking at, I guess, the span of the life that we've had of the TriCaster in the studio. It's relatively new at this point, but by 2027, it might need an upgrade, and that's just being generous. So we're projecting to potentially upgrade the TriCaster in the studio as a preventative matter to make sure that it's, you know, operational and still in good use and everything like that. Like I said, at this point, there's nothing wrong with the TriCaster that we have in the studio, but just trying to be mindful of the time and make sure that we're ready for anything like that, because that's a huge piece of equipment that will need operational all the time. So that's kind of what we're looking at from the 5-year capital improvement plan at this point. Moving forward, these are the capital costs. These are the items that we're looking to purchase. These are less than $5,000. So these are just some of the items that we're going to be looking to purchase in the next few years. From this line item, the UPS for the studio is just a backup power source. So if we lose power, if power flickers, which it tends to do in this area every once in a while, it keeps us up and going. So that one would be a good purchase for longevity. But you can kind of see these are just some ideas that we have going on for the next couple years. Studio decorations, a hotspot for live broadcasting on sets, a drone, upgrading our tripods, camera bags, lav mics. A lot of these are upgrades to what we have currently, just to kind of make sure that our equipment is staying fresh. And it does get a lot of use, but we want to make sure that it's still operational and we don't really skip too much or have a gap in equipment. So that's kind of what we're looking for at this point. None of these are really set in stone as far as what we want to buy. I know our staff is really excited about a drone. The hotspot for live broadcast is something we're also very excited about. Matt actually purchased some GoPros recently through his the education standpoint. I'll let Matt kind of talk about that for a little bit.
Yeah, the media class itself has a small budget. I think it's like $900 something. It's money I like to call use it or lose it money, because it's not money that can kind of carry over. So I was talking with the staff, like, hey, and it's meant, you know, it's geared for specifically for students. And we were thinking, oh, getting some GoPros, because I think we have some, but they're a little old. I don't know if we still have all the various adapters. And I think we got 2 GoPros, and I forget if it was 1 or 2 of the housing on them. So those can be kind of underwater cameras, or those can just be some kind of neat point POV kind of cameras. We always joke we'd love to put them on a football player's helmet. I don't think that's a realistic thing we could do, but it sure would be a cool shot if we could.
Maybe for practice.
Yeah, maybe for practice. We can just put the shot in real quick. No one. But yeah, so yeah, kids will get to have some fun with those, and yeah.
So what about the drones? Do we have any of that right now?
We don't have any drone at this time. Currently, what we use is the Independence Township Fire Department's drone. They're happy to lend it out to us anytime that we kind of ask. We give them a few days heads up to ask if it's available. Most times it's available. They have never had an issue with us using it. So at this time, I'm the only pilot on staff, but we're hoping to get more staff kind of trained and ready to use. The reason why this one wasn't purchased right out of the get-go is we wanted to make sure we were buying equipment that all staff could use right away rather than just one member at the time. I kind of thought it was more useful to buy this electronic stabilizer this year and an upgraded camera so everybody could kind of benefit from that purchase. Hoping that when we buy this drone, we'll have more staff members able to use it. Not that it's going to get a lot of use once we do get it. There's a lot of great opportunities to kind of, fly around and get some great shots. So that is one thing that we're looking into, and we've looked into the cost of this, and it surprisingly will fit under this less than $5,000 budget line, which is great. So once we kind of start moving forward on that, I will say that the testing that you have to do to become a pilot is extensive. It's a lot of studying. It took me about 6 months to do myself, just with adding on all of your production and regular work that you're doing. You're just trying to squeeze in studying when you can. So it is a process, but we are that is the plan. Is once we start getting staff kind of in that field, I guess you could say, of studying and getting ready for this, then we can go ahead and start looking at purchasing a drone to make sure we're all ready. The great thing about these is, in what I've had to use in the past, is you can go live from them on Facebook while you're up flying and stuff like that. It's a great tool for events like that, but also it just adds a great element to our visuals and everything like that from video and photo standpoint. So
it seems like it would entice people into the program as well.
Could, yeah. It very well could that we could have that training. We have to figure out location of where they have to go, because that has changed. Before it was at airports and stuff like that. Now they've kind of shifted it off in different locations. So we just have to make sure that it's readily available. But that is a goal of ours this year, is to make sure that we're equipped and ready to do that. Any questions about these capital costs? And like I said, I know I've been hammering home this a lot during this budget presentation, but I am pretty proud of our staff for being able to reach these heights. And these numbers might be a little outdated, so I apologize. But just looking at our school fund balance, these are the projections based on the proposed budgets that we have this year. 2023, we should be looking at least a 6% increase. I do anticipate that we will be nearing 6% increase in 24-25 after all said and done with everything. But I'm very excited that we're able to keep contributing to this fund balance and stay healthy in this way. So any questions regarding the budget at this time? That's all I had for you.
That's it?
That's it, yeah. Okay, thank you very much for your time. I
Yes.
appreciate it.
Thank you, John, very
Good job.
much. All right, so I think that we have an item to approve. If I can get a motion to approve the agenda.
Move to approve the 2023-24 video center budget as presented.
Second the motion.
Wonderful.
So Jen moved, and David seconded.
Correct. All right, everybody in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. All right. So, item number 3, John, if you want to take it away with the John Show.
Thank you, and I just give you an update. With the approval of the budget, we will be passing that along to the school board. They will be approving that budget. Their new calendar year ends June 30th, new one starts in July. So that's the next step for our budget, is to make sure that we get it to their hands next. So I appreciate you coming today, approving that. That really helps us out in moving this process forward. So thank you very much. Now that I'm done sweating a lot through that presentation, I can get into some fun stuff. So this is our quarterly report that I really appreciate you permitting me the time to kind of talk about our staff. I know not everything is kind of seen, and this is kind of why I like to just inform you about what's going on, so you guys are in the know and kind of see everything that I get to see every day. So we'll start with serving the community. With the cable, we actually, as I said, we ran some updates on CableCast. One of the big things that we've done this past few months is we updated our bulletin boards, the designs, and what those are is that's the little program that kind of runs in between the actual programs that has like what's coming up next, community events, weather, and everything like that. We actually were able to add our social media feed to this as well, so it's got our channel or our social media feed playing as well on top of it. So it's got more of our current up-to-date tweets, I guess you could say, that are being displayed on cable channels. So it's been a nice upgrade, and it took a little bit of time, but it was a well-needed design upgrade. So that was something fun to look forward to. From the live standpoint, the school district equipment was upgraded over Good Friday. Our staff was in here a lot, kind of helping that process go through. It's been well received on our end. We're
in HD now.
Yeah.
First video center board meeting.
Yeah.
In HD, for better or for worse.
Right. A lot of credit goes to Matt Legato, who is here Thursday to kind of help the process with Key Code. He's, the one that runs all these meetings, so he has a great, understanding of what's going on in this room and what was needed. So it was great to have his expertise on hand to make sure that everything that we wanted out of this project was done. Now, I will say, as I shared with you earlier, there's some things that we're still ironing out as far as to make it as, optimal as possible. So we do have to contact them about some of the features that aren't working properly at this time, not to their detriment, but it was just something that, with any install, something's not bound not to go 100% correctly. So the great thing is it's the same equipment that we use in the studio, so the user transfer of understanding everything is minimal. It's all the same interface. Everything's great on that end. So another great thing that was kind of found in install is they were able to use all the old camera brackets and everything, so we didn't have to install new ones of those. So that was kind of great. So we have some extras on hand in case we ever need to use them or anything like that. But they were extremely resourceful in making sure that our equipment was upgraded properly, but that we were able to kind of repurpose the things that were in good shape. So, and we gave it obviously a good test on April 10th for the Board of Education meeting, and went really well. We were actually surprised of how much sunlight actually gets in this room. And that's just a change in cameras you don't realize at the time, but it was a drastic difference. So we were very excited to kind of see those results, and everything's been going smooth so far. So online, with some of the early snow days in January, we actually were able to use our social media channels to let people know when offices were closing early. Sorry about that. And just kind of have some fun with it. We took a little bit of time to do some different fun social posts with the snow and stuff like that. It seemed to work out well, so we were excited to kind of take advantage of those slower days, I guess you could say, due to the weather. I'll get into some of the productions that we've been up to. This is one I'm kind of excited about. We brought back a show, Michigan Moments. It was created prior and kind of took a hiatus as staff kind of switched over, but give credit to Matt Legato and Hunter for picking this back up. So Michigan Moments, for those that aren't too aware, is a show that we did a while ago. It was fairly consistent. It was a good social media video, but also for cable and online. And I kind of expressed to the staff that I wanted to kind of pick this back up and start it again, and they were game for it. I give a lot of credit again to Matt. He's done a great job of researching these topics, making sure they're extremely interesting and niche a little bit. I mean, the Michigander ones, kind of generalized, I guess you could say, or well known, but just the research that was put into it made it, in my opinion, very well done. So what we decided to do is post a video on the 26th of the month on Facebook, because Michigan was the 26th state admitted to the unions. We wanted to do kind of fun little play on numbers, but so every 26th on our Facebook page, you can look out for a new video and a new topic. We're also taking suggestions for future topics as well, so something to look forward to from a fun production standpoint. Great news on the public side. We've seen an increase of public produced content in 2023 already. We have 2 new studio shows with an additional submitted show right now, which is wonderful. We also tried something a little new this past April with releasing our first podcast with one of these shows that is hosted on our website at independencetelevision.com. You can see it as a new tab, and it'll take you right to the podcast section. We have the podcast has been well received, but also we have a video section that plays on our cable channels and is also premieres on YouTube as well. So we actually have this group coming in Friday at 4 o'clock to film episode 2. They have episode 3 already booked on our schedule as well. So the one thing that these shows have been great, but one thing we wanted to make sure that we got out of them was consistency, and that we could kind of make sure that we were going to have more than one episode out of these. So like I said, the Connecting Clarkston, if you haven't got a chance to listen to it, it's really great community podcast, and we're kind of happy to kind of see that take off a little bit. So some other events that we're doing is we had a lot of ribbon cuttings earlier in the year with the Chamber of Commerce, which was great. Matt Legato also did a business spotlight where we got to kind of highlight one of those new businesses that just moved in and give them a little bit of boost with a video as well. So he actually just finished up as well a summer reading program promo for the library that'll be coming out pretty soon, so that'll be kind of nice. That was a fun one to work on. And then also his Easter egg hunt from the Clarkston family farm that just premiered yesterday on our social pages and YouTube. So staying busy. The community events we'll be picking up here in the next few weeks as well, as we have a lot scheduled. And I'll kind of pitch over education to Matt. As I said, most of the things that I highlighted was the upgrades that we got to do from the district board office, but I will highlight one thing down here at the bottom, as 2 members of the PM Media production class also assisted Matt, myself, and Hannah of creating a kind of promotional video for the middle school, where they did a cereal domino fall and then donated all the cereal to a local food bank. So we interviewed students, filmed the fall, and we kind of had some fun with it and just created a nice little video with it. But the students came from PM TV during the day to record and film as well, so they got hands-on experience doing that. So Matt, I'll kind of throw it to you for more educational news.
Sure. We've continued our sports coverage. I think we got girls soccer was our most recent sport. I think we're doing boys lacrosse tomorrow. That might kind of wrap up our regular sports season because we have a couple awards coming up, award shows towards the end of the year. I think next week we got Kayak Clarkston Area Youth Awards. I think the following week is the Senior Awards at Clarkston High School. Then I think we have a little pause for a week-ish. And then I think we have Clarkston's graduation and then Renaissance graduation coming up. So we're kind of wrapping up the sports, but we're still doing our weekly live events at least for a little while to make sure all those different groups get their moment to shine, as it were. Aside from that, media's wrapping up for this semester. I think seniors have less than 5 weeks left. Underclassmen have a little bit more. But yeah, classes are going well. The snow days threw off the timing a little bit, so right now I give them like one quiz and one test, so they're doing that right now, which isn't the most fun part. But then we're getting back into projects after that, so things will be more fun after this coming Monday. PMTV, they started a new project this semester at Clarkston. We kind of had a weird gap in our schedule at one point, and we decided to do a new project that I called Showcase Film. I said, I want you guys to make a film that you would be proud to show your parents and the admin, and go with that goal in mind. And they kind of divided in two. One half is picked a very serious kind of drama dealing with death. The other one is going more for a documentary on kind of student life and stuff like that. I haven't seen it all yet, so I don't know quite how it's all coming together. But I know they've been working hard on it for a while, and I'm excited to see those because I think they'll ultimately turn out real nice. I'm trying to think if there's anything else big from media or PMTV, but aside from that, I think it's just kind of business as usual.
Looking into the government side of things, we were able to produce a couple promotional videos for the government, which is great, and we can actually add another one on top of this, has. So we did Coffee with El Supervisor, promoted that. You'll kind of see that we repurposed that video in the social media coverage by using it to promote upcoming events as well, so people can kind of see what that is and look at it. So filming one and then using it for futures, what we wanted to do with these videos, especially our event coverage ones, to make sure that we're getting the most use out of them. The other one that we used or completed was the No-Haz promotional event that's coming up in the end of April. We created a promotional video just letting the residents know about it, when it is, where it is, how much it's going to be, and just kind of getting that information out there in a creative way. So along with that, we were able to assist the assessing department with some photos that they were able to use on the website and also in a presentation about their department. So got to hang out with those guys for a little bit and do some stuff, not video related, but also able to use our skills that way. So I'll move into social media. As you can kind of see, page visits, likes, and reach have increased since February on Facebook, 54%. Instagram, 152%, which is wild to think about since February. That was just follows, likes have increased. And then on YouTube, subscribers have been growing, gained 16 followers since February with over 5,000 views. So I feel like each time I get in front of you, I always like to praise the work that Hannah's doing. Hannah's doing an amazing job. She does a great job of using our content in creative ways to engage the audience. I stress this a lot. She's a great addition to our staff, and we're really excited about all the work she's doing. So along with these three, we've also been using Twitter. As I said, we promote this one on our cable channels as the social media feed that pops up in those bulletin boards. In the last 28 days, we have seen a growth in our profile visits of 81%, 120 views in the last month. So just kind of like I say at past meetings, we've been really dipping our toes with this one just because we haven't seen a huge audience there from us. So we haven't really put too much attention into it, but we have been kind of mindful of cross-posting and promoting on Twitter of what we do put on Facebook and Instagram as well. So that's social media. Any questions from us?
Nice job presenting.
Thanks for your time. You'll notice we also have new shirts. These were done by Hannah as well. We kind of updated a little bit of our swag. So staff each got to pick out color and polo and stuff like that. So we each have a little bit of new stuff. We're kind of looking at different merchandise ideas as well, of different little fun things we can put our logos on to get ready for the summertime. So
We'll make sure to
hopefully-
get some board swag.
Yeah.
On order in the future there as well.
Right.
All right.
Thank
Well,
you.
Thank you, both John and Matt. That was a very comprehensive and nice update. So, moving on to the next item of our agenda for public comment. We'll open up the floor to if our public has any comment. Oh, well, wonderful. She said we're doing great. We'll take that.
All in favor?
Yeah.
All in, yeah, aye, aye. All right, and then the next item are board member comments. Does anybody have any feedback? One way or the other? Okay, awesome, always good.
I would just like to say that John does a great job on all the material he does bring to these meetings.
Thanks.
And I had an opportunity to visit him at the station, and he does have a really good handle on everything that's going on, and I'm very happy to have him in the position that he's in. Oh, I'm sorry, I'm very happy to see him in the position that he's in and handling the things that he's doing, because he's very detailed. He has a handle on every single thing that's going on at that TV station, so I was very impressed with my visit with him, and I think he's doing a great job.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
And I'll tell you what, I will 100% concur, but one of the things I really liked how you brought the visual into the budget. You know, because we look at these numbers, and I've been on this board for 7 years, and it's just a line item. So it's nice to see when you like put, okay, this is what we're going to do, and this is a picture of it, and I love when you brought in the actual camera. So that was really helpful to, get a tangible view of what you're doing. So thank you for that.
Great. Thank you.
All right. If nothing else, if I could add a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Motion to adjourn the meeting?
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
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 All right. With no nays, we will close the meeting. It is 6:17? 6:17.
I have 616. I don't know. if
All
I'm-
right, rounding down.